The question we're answering today is a Porsche sports car a comfortable car to own and drive? And the quick answer is basically, no, not really. Not in comparison to most cars on the road. In fact, I could get out of my Porsche 911 and get into a Toyota Corolla and it feels like a Rolls Royce in comparison. However, that's not to say these are uncomfortable cars, it's just that a sports car is designed to be a little less comfortable. You know, you have a seating position that's so low down in the car, it feels like your ass is scraping along the ground. You hear a lot of road noise, you hear a lot of engine noise, you feel a lot of vibration through the pedals and through the steering wheel. It's all by design. This is not meant to be a luxury car, it's supposed to be a sports car. And the reason I bring this up is because I've had a few viewers that have been a little bit, Nick, you never warned me how uncomfortable my Porsche is going to be. I hate it. That's right. There are some people that buy a Porsche sports car and don't enjoy it because it's just too uncomfortable for them. I have a viewer that unfortunately had to trade his brand new 911 in after 6 weeks because he just couldn't bear living with it. And I can completely understand that if your expectations are not set correctly. What I think some people do is that they think, oh, you know, I'm spending a great deal of money on this car, it has to be a luxury car. And that's just not the case. There's a big difference between a luxury car and a sports car, and just because you're spending a fortune doesn't mean it's luxurious. I've had girlfriends that refuse to ride in my 911 because it's so uncomfortable. They don't like being so low to the ground, they don't like so much road noise, and they just don't feel comfortable in the car. That said, there are things you can do to make living with a Porsche sports car a little easier on yourself. And when I say a Porsche sports car, of course I'm talking about the Cayman, Boxster and 911. The Macan, the Panamera and the Cayman are all Porsche luxury cars. They're not considered sports cars. So what can you do to make these a little bit more daily drivable? First thing is picking the right model for what you're going to be doing. A lot of people think, oh, you should always just get the GT3 or a GTS or, you know, one of the higher up sport models because they're the most fun to drive. And that is true to an extent. However, if you're daily driving one of these cars, you might want to think of a different model because the GT3, for example, it has to be the most uncomfortable model within the range to drive on public roads. Second is picking the right seats. I've talked about this a lot in videos. I personally find the 18-way seats the most comfortable. They've got the softest cushioning. Obviously they've got the most adjustments, but they're not for everyone. I personally don't like the 14 ways. I had them in my last car. I find them quite stiff and hard. But if you can't afford the 18 ways, certainly look at the 4-way Sport Pluses. They also have the soft cushioning and are very comfortable seats. Next is resisting the PASM option in a lot of the cars. It's a cheap option, normally only about $300. Think, oh, why don't I just get the electronic dampeners? Well, most Porsche sports cars come with the electronic dampeners. When you're buying that $300 option, it's lowering the car further by another centimeter or 2 centimeters. And that does make a big difference. There's not a lot of suspension travel in these cars, so when you lower them, even by a small amount, you really feel that on the road. So I often advise people, resist buying the lowered cars because it does make a big difference to the ride quality of these cars. And finally, tires and tire pressure. I personally find the Pirellis are a lot quieter than the Michelins on these cars, and tire pressure makes a big difference to the road quality. Porsche recommends over 40 pounds of pressure in the tires, but that of course is for very high speed driving and for track driving. For day-to-day driving, you can drop the pressure by more than 10 pounds and you'll really see a big difference in the ride quality of these cars. As for how difficult it is to get in and out of these cars because of the long doors and the low seats, all I can say is don't be like me. You have to lose some weight. So just to sum up, just because you're spending a shit ton of money on a nice sports car does not mean that it's going to be a comfortable luxury car. Make sure you know what you're getting into before making the dive into one of these cars. Anyway, thanks for watching us everyone. We'll see you in the next video. Bye then. One more thing, TUI's developed quite the expensive Coke habit, so help fund this by buying a t-shirt or a stamp today.